Hey, what is up, movement students? It's so great to be with you guys today. We're so proud of you. Last week, we finished up our series called The You Effect, and Javi did an amazing job. You guys are difference makers, and it's been such an amazing time for us to hear the stories of everything God's doing in your life, and for you guys to take the journey of looking at how God shaped you and how God's crafted you and how God can use even the littlest of things in our lives to do incredible things for his glory. And we want you guys to know this. We believe this at Movement Students. We believe that this is going to be the generation that changes the world, that this is going to be the generation that a movement of God happens in. Because we see it every day. We know how special you are, and we know how gifted you are, and we know how talented you are. But more than that, you know, the thing that is unbelievable to us is your heart for God. The way that you love Jesus and the way that you love others. It's so unique and it's so special. And don't ever let anybody tell you anything different. You see, we believe that we've got an incredible summer planned for you guys, and we want you guys to be a part of it. But before we get to our summer plans, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I think is so important. And it's simply this, and you can say it with me. God works in the waiting. So I want you guys to say that at home. God works in the waiting. Say, this might be my waiting season, but I know God is working. This may be the season where maybe I feel like none of the things I hoped would happen are happening. And I know all of us feel that way. I want to tell you guys a story today. When I was younger, one of my favorite times of the year was in the month of September. And you're going, September, that's kind of a weird month. Like, why did you like it? Well, September was incredible for me because my grandparents, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents growing up. In September, they would get a JCPenney's catalog in the mail. I know what you're thinking. JCPenney's, wait, like, were they, like, what were they doing back then? Well, JCPenney's, you would get this huge, massive catalog. I mean, it was about that thick. Now, I know you guys are like, well, what was in the catalog? Well, it was all of these products. And you're going, wait, they used to sell things out of a catalog? That's right. I know it's hard to believe because now we can order something from Amazon and it's here in 30 minutes. I mean, it can beat Domino's Pizza delivering a pizza to my house. That's how quickly I can order anything in the world and it will be to my house. It's unbelievable. But we would get this catalog in the mail in September, and all of the grandkids, we would go through it and we would pick out all of the different Christmas gifts that we wanted from my grandparents. And this one particular year, I found two unbelievable gifts that I was so excited about. The first gift that I saw that I really, really wanted was, and this was a gift that I thought, man, this is going to be a world changer. It was a 4-in-1, fun in a box, I don't need friends anymore, ping pong table, air hockey table, pool table, and bumper ball table. This thing was going to be incredible. I mean, I had it picked out, I had it circled. And then the other thing that I picked out that I said, hey, I know my grandparents are getting me this. And I mean, it was relatively expensive, but they were really generous grandparents. The second gift that I picked out for my great-grandparents to get. And it was an Air Force fighter jet pilot that had wings that retracted. I mean, they just went, they made these noises and the landing gear would come out. It couldn't fly because we didn't have technology that advanced yet, but it was unbelievable. And I was so excited for it. So I picked these two gifts out and I told my grandparents, I said, look, here's what I want from you and here's what I want from my great-grandparents. And then I let that be. I knew that they would take care of me because they always had. And then months go by, September happens, October happens, November happens, and December happens. And we all know what happens in December. This was my favorite times of the year. It was Christmas Eve. And every Christmas Eve, my whole family would go over to my grandparents' house and we would open up gifts from aunts and uncles. I mean, there were just tons of toys everywhere. And it comes to the time for my great-grandparents' gift. Because, you know, this is the way that it works in every family. There's kind of like a hierarchy of who gets to give gifts when, because grandparents want to be the favorites, and so they want to give the best gift, and they need to make sure their gift goes last. So I get to my great-grandparents' gift, and I open up this box, and it's about this big, this big, this big. Not necessarily the size that you would expect an Air Force fighter jet pilot to be in. And I open it up, and it's Madden. Now, if you're familiar with Madden, it's a video game that you could play. It's football, and I absolutely love Madden. But here's the truth. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I asked for. I expected an Air Force fighter jet pilot with wings that went, but I didn't get it. And so I thought, well, I'll keep going. You know, maybe the night will have another surprise for me. Maybe I'll get something else. And then it comes to my grandparents. And my grandparents come walking in, and they've got a box that's probably, I mean, it's like this big, And I'm going, man, I don't know how in the world they're going to fit a 4-in-1 fun in a box. I don't need friends anymore. Ping pong table, air hockey table, pool table, and bumper ball table in a box that small. And so I begin to rip off the wrapping paper. And I get to the box and I open it and I look at it and I see that it's not a 4-in-1 fun in a box. It's actually an Air Force fighter jet pilot. Now I know what you're thinking. I asked for that, but it wasn't what I asked for from my grandparents. It's what I asked for from my great-grandparents. And in this moment, my heart became overwhelmed because I thought, I'm not going to get the 4-in-1 fun in the box that I've been hoping for. And guys, I need to confess something to you. The way that I responded in that moment, oh man, I'm looking back at it, I can't believe that I would act that way. Yeah, I was 8 years old, but seriously, I went over to the side of the room, I pouted, I was so mad and so angry, and even worse, I watched everybody else get exactly what they wanted. I watched as my sister got what she wanted, and my cousin got what he wanted. And the rest of my cousins, they opened up their gifts, and they were so excited because it's exactly what they asked for. And I can remember saying these words to my parents. I said, I'm done. We need to go home right now because I didn't get what I asked for, and I am so upset. I said, this is the worst Christmas Eve ever. And my parents, they didn't take me home. They made me stay there. And everybody got what they wanted. And I began to pout. And I can remember the feeling that I had in my heart of just, man, I was angry. I was bitter. I was frustrated. And I was ready to leave. But I couldn't go anywhere. I was stuck at my grandparents' house. And some of you, you're in that season right now. You have hopes and you have dreams. And there were ways that you thought your summer would go. And there were plans that you thought you would finish out your school year with. And you didn't necessarily get what you want. But the scriptures tell us in Proverbs, and it's one of my favorite passages in Proverbs 13:12. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. But the hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. And some of you, I want to remind you of this. God works in the waiting. So I want to bring you back to the story. So after waiting for several minutes, all of a sudden, the back door of my grandparents' house opens up. And I'm disappointed, I'm discouraged, I'm upset. But the back door of my grandparents' house opens up, and you know what? All of a sudden, I see my grandpa carrying a box this big, I mean, huge. And I thought to myself, that looks like a box that a 4-in-1 fun in a box, ping pong table, air hockey table, bumper ball table, pool table can fit in. And he comes out from the back of the house and he's carrying it and he puts it in front of me and he says, Chris, we just wanted to go above and beyond this year. And we got you the Air Force fighter jet pilot. And we got you this. And I rip open the paper. And as an 8-year-old, I was trying to play it cool. I was like, oh, I knew exactly. But can I tell you something? In the waiting, I forgot that my grandparents loved me. And I want to encourage you with this today. Some of you, you're in this waiting season. And you're in this season where it feels like nothing is going your way. We've all been there. It's a natural feeling for us to have. But God works in the waiting. And there's 3 specific things I want you to know about God in this season. Because a longing, hope deferred makes the heart sick. But a longing fulfilled is like a tree of life. It's like a fresh drink on a hot day. It can change everything in our lives. And I want to encourage you with this. That in the waiting season, you can trust that God is good. You can trust that he cares for you. You can trust that he uses even disappointment for our good and his glory. In the waiting season, you can trust God. In the waiting season, you can know this. God loves you. In fact, in Romans 8, it tells us that nothing will separate us from the love of God. And if we ever doubt that, that's all we need to do is look at the cross. That God chose to send his son to die for us. And it wasn't just a deposit so that way we could be forgiven of our sins. It was also a deposit so that way we could be made his sons and his daughters. And we experience that sonship. And we experience being his daughter today. And he will always take care of us. You can trust him. He loves you. And he always will work all things together for your good. and His glory. And I want to encourage you guys with that. You're in a waiting season, and it might be disappointing. It might be discouraging. But you can trust that God is working on your behalf because God works in the waiting. And I don't want to waste the waiting season. And we want to encourage you guys. Yes, there's lots of discouragement because there's a lot of things we thought would happen during the school year and over the summer that may not happen. But I want to encourage you to lean in and to know that God is working in the waiting. God is working in the disappointment. God is working in this season. God is working in you. God is working for you. God cares for us immeasurably more than we could ever ask or imagine. And as you guys go to your small groups, there's a couple of ways that you can get involved this summer that I want you guys to know about. So we're doing discipleship groups over the summer, and that means your small groups are going to be taking a pause. And I want to challenge some of you with this. Discipleship group, it's a 9-week intensive group that you'll be meeting. Many of your leaders are doing it over the summer, and it starts with this idea that we believe that God is shaping up a generation of students who are going to be disciple makers. You know, Jesus, when he called the disciples to follow him, he called them and he said this. He said, hey, if you will follow me, I will make you fishers of men. And I believe the next great movement of God, it's not going to happen in an arena. It's not going to happen in a stadium. The next great move of God, it's going to happen over coffee. It's going to happen at your schools. It's going to happen at lunch tables because we're equipping you as students to become fishers of men and fishers of women and fishers of people who are hurting. We're equipping you to make disciples who make disciples who make disciples. And I want to encourage you, be a part of our discipleship groups this year. You can sign up to be a part of a discipleship group. The link is actually on our page right now, on our YouTube page. So you can actually click the link that's below this video and be a part of that. The second thing that we want to encourage you guys with is we sent out an email this weekend listing out all of the different things that we're doing as a student ministry for you guys this summer. Some of those will happen online. Many of them will. Our hope, though, is that we won't have to spend all summer online. Our hope is that we will be gathering with you guys at some point during the summer in person, respecting all of the different social distancing rules. But here's what I want to encourage you. Look at everything that we've got going on this summer. We've got a link to it here. But we don't want you guys to miss out. Don't be discouraged. We won't necessarily get to have the summer that we thought we were going to have, but we're still going to have a summer that God knew we would have. And I want to encourage you, don't waste the waiting. Don't waste the disappointment. God will use all of those things, but you've got to lean in. And just like I would have missed out on the blessing of my grandparents going above and beyond, even though I didn't deserve it, because I wanted to leave. If I would have left, I would have never experienced the blessing that they had for me. And I don't want you guys to be discouraged and allow discouragement to be the thing that causes you to go, hey, you know what? I'm just going to check out for the summer, because we're not checking out, because we believe in you. We want to see God do incredible things in your life. Don't waste the waiting. Hey, you guys are going to have an amazing small group time. And if you've got questions about how you can get involved in anything this summer, ask your small group leader. I know that they want to help you get connected. It's going to be an amazing summer. We are thrilled for you guys. We're proud of you. We believe in you. God's going to do a new work this summer, and we can't wait to see him do it in and through you. You guys have a blessed small group time.